Oh yeah, I don't know. No, I think he was closer to where Justin is. I don't
Yeah,
think
he
you're
was
not
in Phoenix.
skiing.
There's no snow in
Yeah,
Phoenix.
there's no
Oh,
snow.
yeah, true that.
Yeah. Plus, we're seeing enough of that with the Olympics. We can get our snow fix
An
over
Australian
there.
woman just won the silver in women's freestyle aerials, which is what I used to compete in. But
Oh, you
now they're
did? Wow.
yeah, I used to do a quad daffy for splits in the air. Now they're
Oh,
doing triple, triple, triples. Three upside down
no
flips
way.
with three twists. Complete.
What?
It's insane.
Wow.
And the Chinese took first took gold and bronze, and Danielle Dar, I forget, she's Australian, took the
Yeah,
silver.
okay. Yeah, there's been a
They're-
few of us there's on our on the TV station that has it here. They just do Australian highlights every day, which is actually really cool. So if I miss if I miss much, I can just watch that, and I kind of get a. And it's kind of it's sort of funny because you don't know it's a highlight. You'll go to a heat of something, and Australia will be last, and you're like, it's not really a highlight. I'm sure we were involved in it, but
But you
we
have had
came
a very,
last. It is
but
good.
for Australia, you've had a very successful Olympics so far. Nothing to
Mm.
hang your head about at all.
No, that's true. No, you're exactly right, and especially since most of our country is desert. It's
Yeah,
like it's not
true.
like there's lots of places to practice winter sports. Um, all right. So the live stream's going, and all right, Justin's already making notes. What's going on, Justin? There's only a few of us. What's happening here? Are you playing around? I you playing around with Mid Journey? Oh, cat. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Yeah, yeah. Logos, text, and things in AI is tricky. Likes to do its own thing. Um, so, are there any questions?
I would
Yes.
like, if you have time, to do
Yes.
just a high level overview of settings for Zoom.
Sure.
Um, that would, because it seems like they've changed things recently, and I want to make sure when I'm playing video that I have the audio set properly. And is there anything I should know about best practices for breakthrough rooms recently and those kind of
Mm-hmm.
things?
Mm.
No, it's not the
Yeah.
dashboard, but it still would be helpful.
Yeah, that's okay. Um, yeah. So, um, first off, there we did add some extra settings that you can change in Obvio that relate to Zoom. So I'm not sure if you caught up on those. Um, they there's a couple of different places. I'll just show them quickly, and then I think mostly what you're referring to is in Zoom settings. So, but I'll just show. Let me get the right one here.
And
We can
while you're
just look at
bringing that
those.
up, Grant, I,
Yep.
I will tell you, Kat, that luckily enough, nothing has changed inside of Zoom as far as things
No.
we've recommended in the past, the way you've shared videos and sound and all of that. The things that have changed in Zoom is where they put the buttons. So if you're doing like host tools, they move the host tools around a little bit, but it's still all the same host tools in there for who can mute and unmute and share screen. You have to find where they move them a little bit. And then share screen, they've just added additional options in there. But the options you've always used, thankfully enough, they are still there.
All still the
You
same. Yep.
you still recommend then when someone shares that they choose the upper left corner so that no matter what they're choosing on their screen, it will show? You know, when you have the matrix, they
Oh, I
share
see. Yeah, yeah.
all
Yep.
the screens show up.
Yes. So, I mean, to be sure that you're getting everything that's on that person's screen, then yes, you can share the full desktop. And so, no matter what they're sharing, they're getting. Sometimes you might want to just be sharing just a window, and so by doing that, then nothing else might pop up, or emails. You flip to a different screen or things like that. Then, if you're only sharing that window, then it's a bit safer. Um, and so, uh, oh yeah, okay, Casey. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking and reading and trying to talk. That's very dangerous at this time. Don't know what might come out. Let me just double check, Casey. I think that's the one. Let me check. We have details for all over the place here. Yes, Casey, it's yours that we'll start building in a moment. Okay, all right, no problems at all. We got 20 minutes. All right, Kat, have you got a little bit of extra time? We can come back to this. Yep, good. All right. Well, we'll get into this build. So let me check. Now, Casey, you haven't created an event yet? It's nothing at all, or you've got something there?
Um, I had someone on my team trying to watch some of the videos and start helping me.
Okay,
Uh, but honestly, I'm pretty much starting from scratch, I think.
that's fine. No problems at all. Yep, all good. Um, I just want to check, what is your organization called? Do you know?
Remote Multifamily Investing Academy.
Okay, let me get that. I'll get this open, and then I'll show the build out. The thing that makes it, by the time we have a logo and a sales page, we're essentially copying those over, and so I've got both of those of yours, and so we're in a good spot.
Oh, yay. And
Yep.
we use A Event to play our videos. Will you show me how that works because I was told that we use your Zoom, not our Zoom.
That is true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not in the time, like if you need to go soon. We that's a little bit more involved to step through that.
Okay.
But getting the site going, your event, we can definitely
So I
do.
can plan to hop on next week maybe and ask that?
Sure, absolutely. Yep. All right, I'm going to start sharing and we can see what I'm looking at here. Let me get this screen right. Okay. Okay. So here is your organization. Is one of these, I guess, okay, so that was a test. And then is this the event, or do we just need to start another one again?
That is the event. I didn't do that though.
Okay. Let's have a
So I
little
wonder if maybe
see.
Elizabeth had someone do something before we got here.
Yeah, okay. Possibly. Let's see. Because I think that looks right so far as doing a nifty 50, which is what is there now. And then you've got a little bit of text. So it looks like we can build from this one. Let's just double check some dates and things here. And the address that's set for this app, apt investing. Does that make the most sense?
No, I would want
Not
it to,
really.
I'll put it in the chat.
Uh-huh. It can be short, or it might be an acronym, or
Okay. So it would be AIK intensive.
okay, gotcha. Let's get that right. And then Eastern time zone, is that kind of the most obvious for your
Yep.
event? As much as everyone can join from all over the place, but it's kind of the event time when you refer to times yourself. You anywhere in the Obvio site, you'll think of it in Eastern time zone. So, and then dates that you'll be using it. What are we? What are we talking about here?
So it would be March 26th
Okay.
at 8 p.m. is the first day. We have an hour there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah,
then
and then 27 and
it,
28. Yeah. Okay. This looks pretty good.
27,
Jen,
28, and 29. Because
that
26 is just the kickoff, 1 hour kickoff call.
copy. Okay. So these dates here are really just about when Zoom will work, and so we tend to just give a nice big window to be able to play around with it and make sure it's all working okay.
Okay.
And then this one, same again. That's well after to make sure that it's all working okay. Everything else looks good there. Oh, we've got a little fave icon and the logo for the event, so that's good. And then
Don't forget to
it looks
save.
like, thank you. Rookie mistake. I was talking and not thinking.
And then, Casey, when does your follow up from your event actually end? Doing like a week of follow up afterwards or 2 weeks?
Just about a week, yeah.
Right. And will you be using like Go High Level or what is
Yeah.
your CRM? Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'd stick it out probably another week, Grant. You're
Yeah.
safe since the end date does turn off those integrations.
Yes. Yep. All right. Cool. And we're on Nifty 50, which is cool. And so now we're going to
So
look
one more
at.
question, Grant.
Yep.
I noticed you didn't check the email only login. We should ask about that.
Hmm. Was that checked?
It
Yeah.
was
So
not.
what is the integration? Did we say you just said that you were using?
Go High
How are
Level.
people registering and it is Go High
Quiet.
Level? Yeah. Um,
Sorry.
you're fine. Yeah. So you're using Go High Level?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And so your intention then is that as people are registering, that Obvio will be sending back a link to Go High Level, and then you're sending that unique link out to everyone. Is that your understanding, or this is
I
all
have no
news?
understanding. This
Yeah.
is all news to me. That sounds fabulous, though, Grant.
Mm-hmm. All right. Because of your you've got 13 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah. So let's just focus on the design for the moment of the dashboard.
Okay.
We'll just spend 10 minutes in that, and then next week we can go through some of this extra integrations and how you make it all kind of work.
And is it okay that I do that after I sell it? I start selling it tonight. Does that matter?
It doesn't. I mean, it's ideal to have it all connected, but it's okay in that you
Okay.
won't be sending out, or I'm assuming you're not going to be sending out the link to this dashboard until just before the event, right? Like a day before or whatever.
Right.
That would be your plan, right? Yep. So we can connect and then do a sync, and it will then Obvio will see all those. the important thing, I mean, I guess we could do this instead of the design right now if you do want to get that going. You've already got. Let me just explain how it works. So when you connect Obvio to Go High Level, it's specifically looking for a tag that each attendee is tagged with, right? And the way that Obvio works is that it will tell you what that tag needs to be, which means that in High Level, you're entering in that tag, that specific tag, so that Obvio is looking for that tag. So what you would do is at the end of the registration in High Level, the process of the sales page, you will tag each person with this specific tag. And once that happens, Obvio is looking for those. It sees, okay, there's a new customer in there that it has that tag. It then pulls in their first name, last name, email into Obvio, creates their login, and then sends that login back into a custom field within High Level for that person. So now when you go to send an email, you use that custom field that has their login link, and away it goes.
Okay.
So the reason I explain all of that is that if you get some registrations that happen in the next few days, which of course you will, then it will be a matter of, once you do connect Obvio, needing to add the tags to people that have already registered, right? Like you're having to,
Okay.
right, you're having to go back and say, okay, here's the 10 people that are registered. You could automate that, or you could manually go through and just add the special tag. Once that special tag has been added, then Obvio will see it, and away it goes. So, and
Easy.
so we can do all that. Yeah. So that's all easy enough. So then really, so we can do that, and we can talk about the A event. There's a possibility of like the advantage of A event playing out the video for you is that it can be is automated and somewhat particularly when you're doing repeat over and over and over again type of automation setups. So we can talk about that. The chances are that you're going to want to be around, even if it's pre-recorded content.
It's
You're
half
still
and
gonna,
half. It's half live. It's actually probably 80% live
okay.
with videos in between.
Okay, so there's no reason then to what was the thinking with using A event?
The videos, playing the videos from A event is way better than playing them from our machine because of, I don't know, computer, internet, bandwidth things that I do not understand.
Yeah, okay. So we can talk through that a little bit more. The way that A event works is really when you're doing a simulated live event and not really any live elements to it, is really where that comes into its own.
We've been using it this way for a few months with the videos playing
Okay.
through A
Okay.
event.
Okay. Okay. Great. All right. That's fine. Yeah, the integration that we have with A event is just to be able to get the A event bot essentially into a into an Obvio meeting, and to be able to share the video. And so we can step through that. So if that's the way you're doing it, then great. I don't want to second guess any of that for you. All right, Justin, are you playing around? Are you in the dashboard? Yeah, cool.
Here and there for a few things that you're not working on currently.
Yeah, no worries. That's all good. All right. So I realize we've only got a few minutes here, but we can see So one of the things, we've already got a logo in there. One of the things that we can potentially do is match this background a little bit. What we have here. Image. There we go. We will do on this side. Let's have a look here. Okay, yeah. So that's accurate. That countdown is accurate now, isn't it? The 36.
Yeah.
36 days. So that's one thing that we can add in here. It is nice to have countdowns. And so it was March, what did we say?
27 is the day of the session one.
Mm-hmm. And at
11 a.m. Eastern.
great. Cool, cool. See what the style looks like. We'll just grab that there for now. There we go. Look at that. It's even exactly the same. All right. So a couple of things that we will add in. Let's get a button in here. All right, we're going to do some buttons over here that make it simple.
I did see on the demo pages the emojis. What do those mean?
Yeah, so there's an emoji page. There's the ability to have emojis on the dashboard, which then just show on a separate web page, and those web pages can then be shown in a couple of different places. One is that you can use it as part of a more advanced production setup where you can overlay those emojis over your screen. Also, although sometimes people might just have a TV that might be in the background of their image, and they could have the emojis flying up on that. So you could have a logo on there, and then you could have emojis playing. So it's particularly when you're doing multi-Zoom meetings. You've got lots of Zoom meetings going, hundreds of people, and being able to have them kind of interacting through the dashboard. That's the concept there. So I'm just going to put a main stage there for now. Just going to get this there so we can see what this button looks like. I'm just checking. Yes, I'm kind of using red buttons. Some black. I might add that black. So you can see how we can play around for a little while, and I'll continue to just mess around with this even as you go. We are recording it. You could go back and see it, but we'll get it to a place that is looking really similar to your sales page there. And then just want to make sure, was there anything specific that you wanted to make sure? Obviously, the key things for the dashboard is when does the event start, and give me a button to join, right? And so that's what we're setting up here. Is there any other content that you're thinking about as far as maybe speakers pages or like speaker information or anything like that? Is that sort of stuff that you're...
No, what I'm concerned about is not what the dashboard looks like, is how I get the attendee the information, and how does it work for me to run everything and for my speakers. And it's very similar to Barry and Blue. There's no other speakers. It's just Jen and Stacy.
Great. Yep.
And then we do breakout rooms, and so just making sure I understand any functionality changes is what I guess is most important to me. An A event.
Okay, that's cool. Well, we'll get this set up just to look somewhat like the sales page, which is great. And it sounds like it, so you need to go and you can't come back. Is that what it is?
I do. I have a meeting that I have to drive to, unfortunately. So
it's totally fine. Totally fine. We've got a bit of time. And so, as we said, this is not going to stop you from selling, which is important. Getting people to register. If we plan for next week that we can talk through these integrations, get them connected, so have you make sure that you've got your access to the high level and your A event, and so that we can connect those, and then we can talk through the process of what happens on firstly getting it all set up and seeing that that's working, and then secondly the process of on event day, what do I do, and so it is very straightforward. And you've been doing this in Zoom, in your own Zoom account, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll find it super similar. It's just that you'll log into here first, and then you'll get to the Zoom area, you'll click start, and now you're in Zoom in the same way that you were in Zoom before as the host. And so
Oh,
all of that is the same. So you don't have to log into anything. You don't have to log into Zoom. When you click the button, it will launch as you as the host. And so now Zoom, you won't find anything different about that Zoom experience. All those settings inside Zoom are all exactly the same. So
and it's meeting style.
correct, it's meetings. Yeah, not webinar. Were you doing webinar or?
No, we're doing
No.
meeting.
Great. Yep. So it's all that's all identical. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, I will watch
Yeah.
the rest of the replay tomorrow, and I will be on next week.
Awesome. Great.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Casey. Okay. Bye-bye. All right. We will just have a little play with this. It's a good example of using. I think maybe we go to white on that. There's white. Yeah. This is the different set. I'd kind of like to do that gradient. Justin, I don't think we've got the gradient in this template. Is that right? Don't think it is there.
Or the background for the left panel. Yeah, I don't think it's there either.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right. Check up in here. So there's the rows gradient. That's part of what I was thinking of. It's not quite what I was hoping for. Bar background.
Okay, my vibe coding magic wand would be being able to import my sales page into
Yeah.
the Obvio dashboard, and bam, it moves from one to a total another dimension.
That is quite the wish list. Yeah, we've been playing around a little bit with some AI options for building dashboards. Yeah, it's certainly possible. Well, so much is possible now with this. What's that background? Let me see what that background. That's in the. It's all good background. Get that back. Is that going to be there? Yeah. All right. Probably prefer to go grey. Just going to match this grey. I think I prefer that. There we go. Good. All right. Let's get this button right. If you have any other questions. We'll come to those in a minute. That's not what I want. This. There's a couple of different colors, it looks like, for the buttons. We'll use that. So, Justin, were you picking up some other things that could be on here on the dashboard?
And I added some placeholders for standard things like apply for laser coaching, the welcome letter.
Yeah.
I did fix up the login page. I switched out the logo and to make it look like the left panel.
Nice.
Same thing on the waiver. I went and turned that on, created placeholder forms for the check-in and placeholder for the laser coaching. At least the forms are there. They just have to add the questions.
Uh-huh. Let's just check this. Yeah. I'll probably just add I'll just add an agenda here. We'll just put a couple of things in here. Can you hear my dog going crazy here? Yes. May have to stop that. She's terrorizing the next door neighbor. She's being very disobedient. All right. Okay. I can 26 March 26. Hmm. Six. Okay, there we go. You can see the agenda. I think probably everyone on the call at the moment has seen the agenda. Agenda appears in different places depending on the theme that you choose. But it's very powerful. I do think of it as one of the key things that you want on a dashboard. As I said, you want a place to be able to join the Zoom meeting. You also want to know the timings. And so by having a basic agenda, and that's not like these are the 6 things that are happening in that session. It's not about that. It's just like when the sessions are starting or when the day is starting. And the nice thing is that it's converting for the attendee to their time zone. So I can see that it's in Australia's central time zone. So it was 8 p.m. Eastern that I put it in. And so then it's showing it in the time zone of the person that's viewing it on their computer, which is a nice thing. So I'll just add this 26, yeah, 27. Mm. 7 at 11. There we go. Goes until 6. So yeah, pipe up, particularly now. I can I can multitask somewhat. If there are any other questions that you've got for today, otherwise we'll play around with this. 26, 27 to 6. Good. Good. As you can see, I won't be attending this event at 1:30 a.m. my time. Yeah, they say like a watched kettle never boils. It's somewhat how I feel doing this at the moment. It's like, could I be any slower? There we go. Just trying to make sure I get it right. There we go. 11 to 6 on the 28th is day 2. Oh, what did I do wrong? March. Oh. PM. There we go. Beautiful. So we've got a basic agenda in there. Multiple videos within laser coaching. Cool. All right. I'm not sure whether we had any speaker info. Did we have that there? Don't know if you've seen that, Justin. Possibly not. But as she said, she wasn't super worried about the layout or the design of the dashboard. It was more just making sure that it was functional. Check there. Just gonna have a look at this. I need to actually enable the agenda, right? Little trap for young players. There's a little enable button there for the agenda to be able to turn that on and make sure that was there. So that will now appear there. I'm not sure if we're going to have resources or not, but what we will do is just put a little, just a placeholder for a workbook, which will be a PDF workbook download. We just have that listed there so that as a little placeholder, we've got the gender, home, and maybe a little. I wonder if we put in, yeah, little welcome. Let me look at something here. You're awfully quiet today, everyone. No, no questions. You're just hoping that you will get some nugget you'll learn today. It was like, it was worth coming to hang out. Just thinking about it again. Fair enough.
We're just all enjoying watching the native in his natural environment.
That's right. Exactly. To see if I can get a little welcome. Here we go. Going to grab a bit of a welcome text. Let's see if I can change it a little bit, and then we can pop that in there. Just finding it on another one. Here we go. And
I see your dog was done terrorizing the neighbor and came to terrorize you.
I know she did. She just came and sat. She came and sat, and then every now and again she hears something and starts barking.
I had to get my dogs out. They were getting too excited, way too excited.
Fair enough. All right, I'm gonna try. I've got some copy of a welcome letter, a welcome sort of, and I'm just putting it into ChatGPT to change it based on. Deal ready intensive? Is that what we're calling it? Well, that's pretty good. All right, you'll see here. We go. So that should put in first name. Congratulations, deal ready intensive. Design, strength and precision apartment deal. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. What to expect. Looks good. So we'll obviously encourage Casey to go through that, but that's at least some text that is outlining some details. Cool. Great. All right. Well, we will revisit this next week as we help Casey on this event, where we'll step through connecting to high level, and a somewhat high advanced level move, and that is connecting a event. A event is not super cheap. It's a service that is a way to be able to play videos on a schedule, or be able to, it can actually tie in, start an event, start a Zoom meeting and play a video out. And so Blue and Barry have used it before for webinars and have scheduled it to where almost there's a webinar starting every couple of hours. Blue did some really, really tricky sort of automation steps to make it so that there was always a webinar that was starting. I think he's changed their strategy a little bit on that, but a event was a way to be able to handle that, so that it would start the Zoom meeting, it would play the video out, and it would be as live. Now, of course, you would always still want a team member to be around to be answering questions live in the chat and things like that, but that's technically what is possible with a event. I think it was a few $100s a month. Like it's not cheap. Cool. All right. That has played around a little bit. I'll just see yeah, cool. Huh. This is interesting, Justin. I just went to the login page. I'm just going to show you this. And then came back here.
Little shift refresh.
Yeah. It showed me the login page that you had. There we go. That's all right. That's a little bit odd. Anyway, it's all right.
I'm sure there was a bit of caching going on there since I was doing stuff and it hadn't pulled down the fresh cache for you.
Must have been, yeah. Yep. All right. Okay, so that is that. All right. Anyone else? Do we have any questions that came in, or any thoughts?
Was there any more that you wanted to say about Zoom
yes.
settings, Kat?
There was. Exactly. Thanks, Kat. Thanks for
Uh-huh.
reminding me of that. All right. So let me show you quickly some differences that you may not have seen in Obvio in relation to Zoom settings. So when we come to Zoom areas and we look at Zoom settings, we have a couple of things that are kind of that normally available to Zoom in the admin section, not so before you get to the meeting. And so there's reactions. We default that to being on, people being able to love heart and things like that in Zoom. And then this is actually defaulted off. For most of the time, we want it so that we can't see the history of the transcription during the live meeting. Depending on the event that you're running, you may want, and some people have asked to be able to see the transcription and to go back over it in Zoom. Generally, for events, we don't want that. We don't want people to be able to copy and paste and take your content. But for some events, you may want that. Firing camera control is super geeky about controlling a camera remotely. Local recording, we have people asking about this, which is where you can record to the cloud, but you could also record to the local computer as well. So you've just got to watch. There's a little bit of a process to doing that, but you can make local recording work. This was just optimizing for editing afterwards. And then, do you want the names of the people's faces, the names of the people on top of their faces in the recordings or not? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And so that's why you can choose that there. When we're in a Zoom area, we look at main stage, for example, we can see some other settings too. So this is all sort of grayed out because we're in and it's active at the moment. We had these before where it was the same user can join multiple times from the same with the same attendee, and so generally we don't want that. We only want them to be able to join Zoom once. But for some people, that was like, oh, we want them to join from their phone as well as from their computer and be able to show us things. So that's that ability. Q&A is a separate, the Zoom Q&A function where you can enable that to be able to have people posting questions within the Zoom section, not just in chat. And then it was about interpretation, sign language and language interpretation. Yeah,
Could I
Kat?
ask you what is best practice regarding questions? I've been in webinars where you have to go to a separate area and post a question, and not everyone gets to see that question. Is it
Yep.
better to have them put the question in the chat so everyone can benefit from it?
So it depends on the size of the event, and this is very much a personal choice. Turning on Zoom Q&A means that you can have people post questions in a different spot, and you're choosing then whether they can be seen and voted on. Sometimes you can have the questions, you have people like the question, so now you can see, oh, 10 people have liked this question, and so we're going to take that one next. So that is an advantage in Zoom, particularly when you're doing where you've got a smaller group of people. It works really well. As soon as we go to large events, we don't use Q&A within Zoom because we're managing multiple Zoom meetings, and that's difficult to manage. So generally, I think having a separate place to have questions posted is better, so that you can have chats. Chat is about comments, and then questions that don't get lost are stored in a separate place, which is like with this Zoom Q&A, or by what we do on this call, which is we have an Obvio form where people can post questions. And so think about some of the differences there. The thing that we have with our form on the dashboard for this meeting, the advantage of that is that people can post questions anytime, not just when the meeting's on. They can go there and post questions whenever they want. We're also capturing that against their attendee, and so we have their attendee data. So when we export, so if you see, if I just do this, so you can see I've got a bunch of extra buttons there, but at the moment, just that ask a question comes up like this.
Mhm.
This is a form. If I look at that in forms, in questions, it looks much more complicated in here, but it actually, all it is there's one field, which is what's your question.
Mhm.
And so when you click download submissions, you get all of those questions along with the data of the attendee data, which means that you could follow up those questions afterwards really easily. So it's quite a nice thing, particularly if you're doing a multi-day event. You could say to people at the end of day one, hey, there's a post a question button on the dashboard. Do that anytime. You can do that tonight as you're thinking about questions. Post those questions there, and then we'll get to those tomorrow. That type of thing. So you can see how there's pros and cons. It depends on depends on the type of event. But I generally think that questions posted in a dedicated space is very powerful, and is not to be underestimated, the power of taking questions like that. So, yeah.
And do you generally suggest that they do that in advance of the meeting, during the meeting?
It depends on your content, right?
Mhm.
Like, so some people will have questions that they come with, and then lots of people will have questions that come up as a result of the content that they're listening to. And so, but there's a lot of power in people being able to ask questions, and the power also comes in people hearing questions. So, like it actually sparks something in people as they hear questions, not even necessarily the answer to the questions, right? It's sometimes just the question itself is like, oh, now that's a great question because that makes me think about X, Y, Z. And so, I'm a big believer in questions and that interactivity. And so, I'd encourage it to be all people can ask questions whenever, and then you just choose when you're actually taking time to answer them.
And are you suggesting that people, when they put the questions in there, that everyone can see them when it's in that separate Zoom Q&A?
Yeah, I think that's good. And once again, I'm sure there's certain content types that you may not want people to be able to see to see questions, but generally, I think it builds community when people can see all the questions that people are asking. And they can vote, on them, and they can, potentially comment on them and things like that. That's brilliant, So,
Perfect. Thank you.
So then, just quickly on the in meeting settings, is as Justin said, that was all this. It's all the same. Nothing's actually changed there, as far as what you would do if you're sharing a video. Then, I think still the easiest recommendation on that is you go to advanced and then video file, and you share the video file itself. And now, when you say share video file, it'll ask you what file. You find that on your computer, and now you're sharing the video, and you can scrub through it if you need to. You can go back over bits, whatever. That's the best way to share a video if you're doing it that way. And so then, just settings wise, the only thing that has thrown a few people, it's a little bit annoying, is the host tools have just changed where they show. And so now they show in the side panel. And so I'm not easily able to show it at this point, but essentially what I'll do is when you click on host tools as a host, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to post a little screenshot of this in the chat. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about, and I can just tell you what we generally do as the basic. So what we're seeing for this event at the moment is that we're allowing people to chat, which is good. Generally, you always keep that on. We're not allowing them to rename themselves because Obvio has already done that. We are allowing them to unmute themselves, which is a little bit unique, right? That's unique in this smaller event. Generally, you would have that turned off, that people can't unmute themselves. And then we want them to be able to start their video. So often all it is that we have a chat and start video. That's it. That's the only things that we have turned on. And then when it comes to wanting to take questions by people being able to speak, then one of the team you'd have can actually unmute them. And so now you don't have anyone that can unmute themselves. You've just got the person that you want to be able to speak. You're allowing them to do that.
May I also inquire about AI Companion? I tried using it the other night, and I don't know where those notes go.
Yeah, we only have basic. We've only got it enabled in a basic way because, in the same way, AI Companion in general business meetings is the idea that you could ask it questions. You can you can have it so that it's tracking notes and it's tracking next steps, and that Kat said she's going to do this and you're going to do this and whatever, it's saying all of that. And you could ask it questions. Who is supposed to do this task? Oh, Justin's supposed to do that task, right? So you can see in a business meeting setting, it's quite powerful to use it all like that because it's listening or it's getting the transcript and it's kind of being able to interpret a bunch of stuff. However, the only thing that we really have enabled on the account for events is the summary. So if we were to look at when you go to recordings, you'll see that there is a summary and a next steps thing that's just there. So instead of now, this will when you're recording your event, this will be enabled automatically. Like it's capturing this, and it'll have this little summary will be generated. But the AI companion button that you see in Zoom is basically disabled. Like it'll open the window, but it doesn't really do. You can't really do anything in it. So if I was to look, I'll just show you when you're looking at recordings where you can see that. So we're back in Obvio. We've gone to Zoom areas. I've gone to, well, actually, I'll show you this first. So in here, this is where we have all the recording types. So remember the screen share and the gallery view and the active speaker. Most of the time, people are just happy to have this recording, shared screen with speaker view. When there's not screen sharing, you see the speaker view nice and big. When there is screen share, you'll see the person talking is small, and that's generally the recording that you take. The audio transcript is what was said by who, the chat file, what people have typed into chat. And then this last one is where we're pulling on AI Companion, and it's generated a summary of what was spoken about during that meeting, and then next steps. We can go through it. This was a while ago. Let's see if Justin did change the default settings for the password creation. Oh, we've got a bit of accountability here now, Justin. We'll go back and see if that ever happened. Yeah, so you can see that it was available. It's available in the recording settings, and so we just wanted to show that after the event. But generally, anything during the event is not enabled.
And
It's
finally,
time to turn on that 60-day delete. Come on, Grant, turn the 60-day delete on. Get rid of that old file.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
know. I know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
almost a year old, isn't it?
Yeah, that one is. Yeah.
When I go to more, the circle with the 3 dots, could you just walk us through those 3 lines and what they do, and if we should be concerned about them in any way for our meetings?
So you're looking at that as an attendee, right? You're not
Yeah.
because you're looking at this meeting at the moment, right?
Right.
When
Yeah.
I look at it, and I'll post this as well. Now, depending on how your screen is laid out, will depend on what shows up in that more, right? I'm just going to put this in the chat as well, and you're going to see what I can see as a host. And so they changed this as well a little bit in Zoom, where you can move these buttons around a little bit on the bottom. And so depending on what you click on, but the more has record in there, and so that will auto start recording to the cloud, and then show captions. So that was the idea, that you can show live captions, kind of showing 2 lines. The most recent, it's unless you set the transcript option where you can see the full transcript. That's why that transcript button is showing there, is because I have got it enabled on this event. Interpretation is where you're setting up people that are doing live interpretation audio. Breakout rooms, as you know, setting up breakout rooms and assigning people to those. polls and quizzes is something that you can do. Generally, I think that for the speed for events, I think that any sort of polling you can do in chat. It can actually work really well, unless you're wanting a definitive result of a poll. Generally, you could say, "Hey, do we have cat? If you're a cat lover, put a 1 in the chat. If you're a dog lover, put a 2 in the chat. Go." And then you just see 1 1 1 1 2 2 2 2 2 1 1 1 2 2, and you're like, it's mostly cat lovers, right? And that's really fast. No one has
Yeah.
to do anything,
Yeah.
and people don't have to hunt around for another polling window or whatever. They know where the chat is, and it helps people to keep kept engaged in the chat. They know where the chat is, and so
Yeah.
I've seen that work really well. Another example of that is where you're saying, "Are you with me?" You know, like how. Let's just do a little check in here. Do you
Yeah.
feel like you're right with me with the content that I'm sharing? You know, put a 1 in the chat. You feel like maybe you're slipping behind a little bit, you know, put a 2 in the chat. If you feel like you've got no idea what I'm talking about, put a 3 in the chat, right? And so now you just kind of get this idea. You see a whole bunch of 3s. Well,
Yeah.
now you're gonna course correct, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna start changing the way you're doing things because and so I've seen that work very, very well, particularly when you're working through a program or a sort of a structured training in a sense. So that was all talking about polls and quizzes. Docs is not used. That is again a business feature of sharing documents, and notes is the same. Apps is the same. Live stream we're using. I'm live streaming at the moment to YouTube. For the only reason that it is really quick. It makes the recordings available, and I can just store it as a playlist. The playlist is on the dashboard, so it's just easy for this event type. Meeting info doesn't matter. Transfer to room, and the host tools is really what I showed before, which is where you can see the participant options, and then there's an advanced option as well. You could that's where you can set whether people can screen share or not. It defaults to only the host can screen share, and so but what's nice about they did add this, which is nice, and that is that if people try to share and it's not enabled, they can request it, and then you can click approve, and now it does allow people to screen share. So that's another aspect of that. So that's kind of
Very helpful. Thank you.
that's the crash course, yeah, in what's available in meeting settings for Zoom.
And the other thing Grant didn't mention that you can do in that more, you can right click on any of those and say pin to the toolbar, and it'll actually move it out of the more and into the main list of icons. So like I can see Grant doesn't have his breakout rooms on the main list. I have my breakout rooms on the main list. I have my host tools on my main buttons because I tend to use those a bunch. And some of the other ones that I don't use, I just unpinned it because you can unpin any of the options now. You're not stuck with what they give you by default.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. I've only just recently changed and reinstalled and stuff, and so I didn't have my settings that I've got. But
the
cool.
other thing Zoom wise that we haven't covered is they've changed a few other ways the layout works in the very, very, very latest version of Zoom that came out like a week and a half ago. Things like there used to be a view button in the upper right that many of you probably still have to go between speaker and gallery. The button now is like looks more like a square that has like 6 little squares or 9 little squares inside of it. So that's changing when you give instructions for people. It's no longer click the view button in the upper right. It's click this icon in the upper right or the view button, because we're not at the point yet of Zoom forcing everybody to upgrade to the latest version. You will also notice one really nice thing from a host standpoint, the recording pause and stop buttons are no longer visible by default at the very top. it just gives an REC button. And when you roll over it, it pops a little drop down where you can pause and record. But you have to really intentionally want to get that, where before it was really easy to accidentally click on the stop recording or the pause recording if you were trying to find your mouse and accidentally clicked on something and it happened to be right there, which yes, I have done that at least once and some paused a recording. Now they're hidden, so kind of nice that that's a little way to save ourselves from ourselves.
Yeah.
So those two things have changed.
What does dynamic gallery mean?
The dynamic gallery is a new gallery layout that they've given that shrinks the number of people down and kind of sizes more people to kind of fit in. So if you're doing like just two people on a call, like a one-on-one call, it 50-50s the screen, I mean, for both people. Instead of if you just do gallery view, it's you see the whole person. It gives you all the space around the gallery, but in dynamic, it'll size it down. And as you get a few more people, I've seen it go up to like 8 to 10 people in there. It'll just kind of size them and put them in there, and it allows you to see people bigger, a little bit, not have to have their whole thing. It kind of zooms in on their face. So we all wondered, why the heck did Zoom add a auto tracking feature that all of us tend to turn back off because we don't want our camera to constantly move around? Dynamic gallery is where they use it by default. Also, if I were to move out of the center of frame and you turn on dynamic gallery, it will actually search inside of the Zoom frame. Doesn't affect my camera at all, but it'll search inside of the Zoom frame to keep people centered. So just kind of a different gallery view.
Hmm.
And it's just for us. Like, we can't force the audience into seeing it. One thing I will tell you that is missing from dynamic gallery view, though, it is currently not enlisted in the shortcuts. So if you're on a Mac and there's a shortcut to switch between speaker, gallery, I think it's called multi-speaker. Yeah, multi-speaker, and you can switch between them with the keyboard. Dynamic gallery is not included in that switch between all of them. And so you have to go click on the view button to get back to it. Same. So hopefully they'll add some keyboard shortcuts for those of us that sometimes do switch between gallery back to speaker and the gallery with a push of a button or a keystroke. Just a different view.
One final thing, Grant, you are live streaming to YouTube. Is that a difficult thing to set up?
No, it's very straightforward. When you click on live stream in Zoom, it says, where do you want to do it? And there's a couple options there, Facebook and YouTube and places. And so I just click YouTube. It then opens a browser and says for you to, if maybe you're already logged into YouTube, and so then it just takes you to the page where you're like, which channel do you want it to live stream to? You click on that, you give it a name, and then you're now live streaming to YouTube. So it's very, very straightforward.
Do you have to get any kind of permissions or tell people that you're doing that?
Your YouTube account has to be set up, and you have to have stepped through a few steps to just have live streaming enabled. But anyone can do that. So you just have to have the channel set up correctly. But yeah, once that's done, then you're fine. Away you go.
Got it. Thank you so much.
The other major restriction to streaming to YouTube is copyrighted content. Like, I can guarantee you, if you play a TEDx video, even if it's your own TEDx video, within about 30 seconds, YouTube will stop your live stream and potentially give you a strike against your channel. I've had that happen to clients that have played their own TEDx video. And we had to go appeal it and get their channel back activated because it basically said, nope, you're playing content. And so you would think, how do they do it so quickly? But they've got all kinds of stuff that in just a few seconds, they will start restricting down channels and sometimes shut off your stream and not let you turn it back on. So don't play any copyrighted content, even if it's your own TEDx talk or videos that you have somewhere along the lines put in copyright stuff.
Very, very important, because I was actually planning on using TEDx talks in my training. But I guess if I don't put the trainings on live stream, on
Correct.
YouTube. It should be
That's
It's
okay,
good.
right?
Yeah,
'Cause
Zoom
it's
won't
fine.
shut you off,
private.
but
Yeah.
YouTube would. Like if we started a TEDx video right now, then about 30 seconds, the stream most likely is going to be stopped on YouTube and people won't be able to see it on YouTube. Zoom will keep going, but all the viewers on YouTube would not be able to watch us any longer.
That's being a TEDx organizer for 16 years. I did not know that was the case. And I've
Yeah.
produced over 800 talks. So thank you for that little piece of information.
Yeah.
Yes, that's definitely why I brought it up, because I knew you were a TEDx organizer and figured that there might be some TEDx talks that are part of your training that you want to show off.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
And
There
then,
you go.
Grant, I do want to go back to two things that you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
First one is about the Q&A and chat. So one of the reasons not to use chat is if you don't have the tools set up where you could actually, there's tools out there technology wise that could grab the Zoom chat and the questions. If you don't have any of that stuff set up, it's very, very easy to lose the question in chat. If you don't have someone that's pulling questions out and you've got an interactive chat, you're trying to scroll back up to find those questions, and it's very difficult and breaks kind of the flow of the event. And so that's one reason not to put them into chat. Use something like the Zoom Q&A that Grant mentioned, or the external tools in there, so that you don't have to go and hunt them back down. And then second piece I want to talk about is the video sharing. Make sure to definitely test it before the event. Hop on a day or two before the event, make sure it works. And you should be doing a little bit of tech check yourself before the event starts, making sure your microphone works and slide sharing. Test those videos there as well. I have more than once had a speaker show up to an event where in the rehearsal a few days earlier, the video sharing worked great. And then they go to share and they've got all these gray boxes over the screen, which what that is Zoom tries to hide all of the Zoom windows so people don't see all the Zoom windows on your machine. They just see the video. Sometimes the machine all of a sudden doesn't have enough resources to process it, and it just shows these nasty gray boxes over the top of the video. Sometimes that requires a reboot to get it working, but make sure to test it beforehand. 'Cause last thing you want is be in the middle of your talk and you go play a video and the whole audience is like, all I see is these random gray boxes, and and they keep popping up, which is you looking at the gallery, looking at the chat, and bringing them onto the screen you're sharing. Zoom normally hides them, but when you turn on that optimize for video, sometimes they don't get hidden like you would expect. So test, test, and test.
Good ones.
Back to you, Grant.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments? Queries?
So are you trying to tell us that there's not going to be any vibe coding magic wand that will take our landing page and smoothly just scope it right there
anytime
to the
soon.
dashboard? Bam, done.
Not anytime soon.
Yeah. And if we think through that, the landing pages on sales pages are so unique to every person. They've got some standard content, but trying to hunt down that content and figure out what stuff to pull over is a bit difficult in there. Now, I do think on the flip side of that, there is some AI stuff that we're looking at that you could provide some stuff like what's your branding colors, what's your images, what is your sales page, because we can potentially pull some copy off of it to help. But just to be able to point it at a sales page and exactly get a dashboard, I think we'd probably be chasing phantom things that you're like, why did it do this? And we're like, as AI thought it was important.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Not anytime soon, but some things, it's a big advantage of Obvio to be able to match the branding of your event so that people see some continuity between all the different aspects of it. And so it does just take a little bit of finessing and just getting that in a way that you want it to look. So yeah, I think it'll still stay this way at the moment. But we are always looking at ways of making things a little bit easier for people to get things going and understanding how Obvio works. And so that's they're the things that we're talking about. So
Thanks, guys.
very good, no problems. All right, yeah. So next week we're going to look a little bit at the integration of high level, and we'll do that for Casey, and also the A event a little bit as well. We'll just look at how that works. And then any other questions you might have. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.